Good morning. Welcome to Lifebox Media Channel Radio Podcast. Taste my esteem. Pleasure to have one. Man, this is going to be an awesome episode, an incredible episode, because about a dear, wonderful, iconic actress, Miss Valerie Perinne. We're going to talk to Mr. Stacey Souther. How are you today?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Good to talk to you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on. And man, I'm excited about this one, because we both think the world of Valerie. So this is an awesome episode for us, and I really appreciate that we get to show some love and appreciation to Miss Valerie Perinne.
Hey, that's what it's all about. It's Valerie's world. We're just here to worship her. That's what I like to say.
We do our best.
Yep.
So do me a favor, my friend. Tell me a little bit about how you got involved in this project with this very iconic actress. And but first, before you do that, tell us a little bit about Miss Valerie Perinne.
Well, Valerie Perinne. Wow, where do I start with her? Valerie and I have been really close friends for, I'd say, since 2006. And she's like a mother to me. We have that sort of a relationship. And, we met walking dogs way back when. We can get into that story later if you want.
Right.
But yeah, we just became, we're really close. And, as you know, she has Parkinson's disease. And what happened was she wanted to do a book for years, and it just wasn't quite happening. It was kind of on the back burner. And then because of this disease coming into her life, she was going to have brain surgery. And I'd also always said, I was like, somebody needs to do a documentary about you. I was saying that for years, and this is before streaming was even a thing. It wasn't even invented yet,
Right,
so
right.
Documentaries weren't where they are now. So anyway, she was going to have brain surgery, and at that moment, I knew I had to get that on film. So I started shooting. I shot this whole brain surgery thing, and that was what got the ball rolling initially for the documentary. I hope that wasn't too long of an answer.
No, that's great, brother. No apologies here at all. This is Lifebox Media. Say what you want. And here's the thing: for people who don't realize, Miss Valerie Perinne goes all the way back to movies like Slaughterhouse-5, which was way back in the early '70s. I happen to remember the film. She did many things along the way, Love Story and W.C. Fields and Me, and many different things over the years. And she was originally a Las Vegas showgirl. And correct me if I'm wrong anytime in here if I paraphrase and get off beat or whatever. And pardon my voice, I'm still getting over this laryngitis thing, but I wasn't missing this show for nothing. For improper English on purpose. To everything that she could do, that I think she just encapsulated the world, and the world just kind of fell in love with her.
Oh, 100%. And like you said, the Vegas showgirl thing. I mean, here's the thing about Valerie. I mean, she's lived a life that, if any of us could have 5% of the life she's lived, we would die happy. That would be like winning the lottery to us. But she was raised in Japan from the age of 3 to 7 because her father was sent there to help rebuild the Japanese economy after World War II. The emperor came 400 miles to see her dance because she was a Shinto dancer, the black wig and the white makeup, and they paraded her around the streets of Japan. And then she was in the 60s, she became a showgirl in Vegas, which that was the golden age of Vegas. That was the playground of Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. And then, in the 70s, she becomes this huge movie star. And it's literally during the last decade of true glitz and glamour and excess in the movie industry. I mean, I can get into, we'll get into it, but, when, how she fell into being an actress. She wasn't trying to be an actress. It's one of those, she was literally discovered at a party.
Right. And here's the thing, and for people to go back, because the superhero movies are hot again now, you go back to Christopher Reeve and Superman.
Yes.
This girl's going on there, Miss Teschmacher. I killed the name. Help me out here, brother. Teschmacher. Man, I just couldn't get that. I just tripped over my own tongue. Thank you. So anyway, so she's Miss Teschmacher, and all of a sudden, boom. and this charisma is on the screen, and her acting ability, because she's an Academy Award winning nominee, Academy Award nominee. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, yeah. She's nominated for the Oscar, and she won Cannes, the BAFTA, and like everything you could win that year, she won except the Oscar, and that was all for Lenny.
Right, and again, amazing. Then you fast forward this, and you have the girl on the heel side, Miss Teschmacher, and all of a sudden, everybody just falls in love with her. And she's got heart. She can be a heel. She can be in between. She has passion, and enough that man, I don't think there was a guy or a girl didn't want him to be her to be her girlfriend, or her to be like her. I mean, she was, the girls wanted to be like her, and the guys wanted to date her.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
I mean, just an absolute, one of my funniest, greatest cameos I think she ever did actually was when she did Cannonball Run.
Oh yeah, that's pretty iconic.
And I loved it because she was a female cop who pulls over Adrienne Barbeau.
Yep.
And that's great, and go look it up, fans. But I mean, and in movies like Can't Stop the Music and all these great things, but looking at everything that she's done in her career, she was on everything. She was on every magazine. She was on every television talk show. Back in the day, Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas, everybody who was a star, she was on.
Yeah.
I can't believe just like you said, 5% of her career. So, to look at this now.
Of her life. 5% of her life.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
She's lived like the most incredible. I mean, literally, it is something that a novel would be written about. I mean, you can't. This literally, it's like she sprang from a writer's mind, and they put her in all these situations, but it's all true and it all happened. It's crazy.
Right, and it's funny because you can go to the tongue-in-cheek comedy parts that she's done, to the serious acting, to the drama, to even doing guest stars on television appearances, to ER and shows like that, to all over the place. Not many people, especially then, could float like that and get away with it without being, oh, now you're doing the small screen. Now we can't do movies. Or she was all over the place.
Yeah, no, 100%. And she was at the very end of the studio system, because when she got Slaughterhouse, I'll tell you the story really quickly.
Okay.
But she left Vegas, and because she was there maybe like 8 years or something, and she was just burnt out on Vegas in the showgirl world, because that's it looks like it's really easy. You're just kind of like going around stage, but that it's grueling, and those girls get no time off, and it was really, really tough. It's not glamorous like it looks on the surface.
And a 50-pound costume.
Oh yeah. I mean, the thing is, you see, the girls from back then. You look at those girls now. I mean, the ones that are still around, they usually all have some sort of like knee issues. Their bones. It's like they were professional athletes. Because
right.
they would. It was really tough on their bodies.
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt you. If you doubt this, the old joke in the I Love Lucy with her trying to be the girl up there on showgirl up on stage and her falling all over, that's for real. That's really how those costumes are that heavy. So you imagine doing that several times a day for 8 years.
Oh yeah, and the headpieces. I mean,
right.
Good Lord, those things. But yeah. So she was, and you've seen the documentary, so I don't want to give it away, but some stuff happened in Vegas. Right. Some unfortunate events that affected Valerie, and she was just done with Vegas. So somebody said, you should go to Hollywood and try to get into commercials. You're really pretty. You could probably make some really good money. So she went to Hollywood, broke, and I think she was even on food stamps, and she was literally had no money, and right. She went to a party, when I say a party, like a small dinner party of like 6 people. She was on the phone talking to a boyfriend, and she was really funny and sharp and just quick-witted, and
yes, she is.
just this thing, just amazing. And there was an agent there, and he's like, "Who is that girl?" And they said, "That's Valerie." And he went up to her, And he said, "Are you an actress?" She said, "No." He said, "Would you like to be?" She was like, sure, whatever. And he's like, "Do you have any pictures?" Valerie said, "The only pictures I have are topless from Vegas." He took some of those, took them to the head of casting at Universal Studios, Monique James, because they couldn't find it. They were trying to find a girl for Slaughterhouse-5, and they couldn't find anybody that was fit the role, that was perfect, And so Monique had a toothache. She was taking all these photos with her to the dentist office where she could keep working while she was getting whatever done to her tooth. She comes across Valerie's picture. The guy sitting next to her in the waiting room literally goes, "Who the hell is that?" She said, "Exactly." And they called Valerie in for an audition, and you were supposed to wear a two-piece bathing suit because if you've seen Slaughterhouse-5, the characters, and you've seen it, the character's topless through half of her part of the movie.
Right.
And Valerie didn't have a two-piece bathing suit. She had been in the south of France for like 6 months before this, and it was topless beaches. So what she had with her a piece of Vegas gear. So she had one of those costumes. So the boobs were like cut out.
Right.
She wore that in, did the audition. And either girls were shy or they were sticking their chests out, and Valerie was so used to being topless, like, it didn't bother her. She could just like chat with you and not even be aware that she was topless.
Exactly.
And her audition was horrible because one of the producers or somebody was wanting their girlfriend to get the part. So they were giving bad direction to all the actresses. But George Roy Hill saw her audition, and he just saw something in her, and that's how she got the part. And I mean, crazy. Like literally, the first day she's on set, the sound bell rings. Can I say a bad word on here?
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Shoot.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. The sound bell rings. She's like, "What the fuck was that?"
That's Valerie.
She had no idea how it worked, But
right.
within a couple of days, Universal watched her, and they offered her a 7-year contract with Universal. So that started her career. That's how she ended up in the movie. And literally, she'd never had an acting class, and they forbid her to go to any class. They're like, you cannot go to a class. You have something natural. If you go to somebody, they're gonna get you self-conscious or tell you something, and you'll get in your head. So she didn't. And everything you see her do, that's all from who she is. That's her own instinct. Literally, she could have the heaviest scene like in 5 minutes, and right before that, she could be dancing around, being goofy, playing Scrabble, like just having, living her best life. You give her 2 minutes before she's gonna do the scene, and she'll think of something that's happened in her life and use that, and then she can, she'll be, crying her heart out, and in 2 minutes later, and then when that's over, go back to being, being having fun and being goofy and the whole thing. She's incredible.
It's funny, you say back to the studio days, and obviously she worked with Burt Reynolds, who was a dear friend. Burt sit there said those days were the last part of hanging on to the studios, and she kind of got that grandfathered in contract almost, like of kind of coming in and before things started changing over in the 80s and much differently. But I think it was Valerie came in at a great time, and with her charm and being uninhibited and not having any bad habits of Hollywood per se, and I mean this with love. So when Valerie hears this, I know she knows. I mean this with love. She's a straight shooter, man. She fires away. So
she says what's on her mind. She'll say it, no filter.
Yeah,
that's
why I always loved her. I mean, and saying that like that, it's not being ignorant. Saying that, it's meaning being that she just, hey man, look, it's this, but also has the kindest heart in the world.
Yeah. Well, she also is a person who. There was nobody like her, especially at that time. Like, again, she said what was on her mind. Right. She was very free-spirited. She did what she wanted to do. She had, all these, she dated all these different, famous men or rich men. She did those things, but she didn't need a man. Right. Like she was very self-sufficient. She could do whatever. She was a trailblazer. I know you know about this, but she did a thing. It was like the second thing she did. There was a thing on PBS. It was a play, so they shot it as as like a little movie. Right. It's called Steam Bath by Bruce J. Friedman, and Bill Bixby's in it. We all love Bill Bixby. Yeah. And it's this whole thing about it's supposed to be heaven, but it takes place in a steam bath, and it's kind of crazy. But Valerie, she's topless. She has a towel on, but then she gets under a shower thing and does a shower, and she turns just enough where you see her breast, and she became the first woman to expose her breast on American television. Like, nobody would do anything like that. She was just such a trailblazer. I mean, in so many avenues, but 1973 to be topless on TV.
Yeah, that was unheard of.
That was unheard of.
Yeah, that was unheard of. Yeah, but see, the thing of it is, though, is that I think the idea, honestly, and I'm pretty positive of this, is that her idea of being uninhibited like that and being very straightforward and proud and strong. This was not a weak woman being pushed into a part. This was a woman who knew exactly what she wanted to do and did it and showed empowerment at a time before it was popular to show female empowerment on television or movies.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Again, like I said, she, I feel like, people don't, remember that about her so much nowadays. Right. But, at the time, again, she was doing things that other women would just, it wasn't acceptable yet, or it wasn't, she was ahead of her time. That's what I guess I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. And by far not a dumb blonde by any means.
No. I mean, that's what they would put her in those parts, but in real life, and Valerie has like a really high IQ. She's very smart. She's very worldly. All those things. I think she has ADD. So that could have been. That could be thought of as something else.
I'll say this with love because look, man, I pay attention to 72 things at once. And, and I've been around Valerie enough to know that, I think we would both be tagged with that thing proudly. So, yeah. And I'm gonna catch on something there. And you said she worked with the late great Bill Bixby, and Bill Bixby was incredible, and he didn't get enough credit, by the way. And this is a piece I'm also gonna have to go back and watch again. But the thing of it is with bringing forth that kind of attitude and empowerment and everything else, she was a lot of the times controlling her destiny. I always felt like, even though people thought, well, at times they questioned her because they put her as the dumb blonde, she always shined through to not, people really realized that she really wasn't.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%, 100%. And also, because, you and I talked about it before, I've been going through all of her archives again. In the past couple of weeks, every interview that she has, like everything that I used for the documentary,
right?
And every one of the interviews that you read, it's about her sexuality, about how sexy she is, her boobs,
right,
all that stuff. And that was part of it. That's what she was known for, or whatever. But there's even one interview where she's doing it jokingly because they're also doing a photo shoot of her while they're doing the interview.
Right.
And she's like, "Oh, you guys, it's all you ever want: tits and ass, tits and ass, tits and ass. Why can't you just ask me for something different? I mean, I'm more than that. Why can't you just ask me for ass and tits one time?"
I love that. And it segues to a great thing. Another beautiful woman from television and movies, Miss Angie Dickinson, says on here that she was the most beautiful woman that she had ever worked with, and that one of the most talented also. And I said, so here you get another icon, from television and movies, and who was policewoman in the day when I was growing up, and
Yep.
absolutely beautiful. And all of a sudden, in the respect is both the beauty and the art that you get from another Hollywood personality, which at times can be, but she completely just, man, it takes a hell of a lot for somebody to sit there and say, man, look, I think she's the most beautiful woman I've ever worked with, and is talented as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. And speaking of people that I interviewed for this, George Hamilton.
Yeah.
I mean, George Hamilton. I mean, beyond being an icon and being George Hamilton, as we all know. I mean, when I shot him, literally, he's like, kind of, what are you going to ask me? I was like, oh, just a little bit of this. He's like, okay. And then I said, all right, I need to test, I just need to record for a minute and test the sound and everything. And he said, okay. I said, okay, whatever, action. I didn't say that, So he started going, and literally he just talked for 5 minutes, and because I didn't want to stop him, because I thought, wow, he's giving me gold. This is amazing.
This is great stuff, brother. Right?
Yeah, and I didn't say anything. He just, 5 minutes, he's like, how's that? And I was like, that's great. And he's like, well, are you ready to do the take now or whatever? And I was like, sure. Same thing. All I had to say was, what's your name? He's like, George Hamilton. And then he went for 20 minutes and hit everything you can think of. But what I was getting at with this was, there's a line. I don't know I can't remember if it's in the documentary or not, because everything blurs together with me. But
right.
He literally says in one part, he's like, they'll take the sex and the beauty, but he's like, Valerie's got far more to offer than that. And he goes into this thing about,
yes, that's in the documentary,
this really deep, into this really deep stuff about her, and you're like, it's like, wow, there's a contemporary that was a very close friend of hers, and saying this, giving her all this praise, and and being in the industry at that time and knowing all that world, and to just say how amazing she was as an actress, and let alone as a person.
And the fact that he could get lost, you get lost in her eyes, and she's the most beautiful eyes he's ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, but I think that's the personality in her that gets, besides the beauty part of it is, and I mean, obviously being beautiful, but the part of the way she is, her charm and her personality do shine a lot through her eyes. And
there's that twinkle. There's there's a mysteriousness.
I think it's a glow, man. I think it's a shine.
Yeah, there's just so much behind. It's what it is. There's so much behind the eyes that comes through. She again. It's like someone created their perfect woman. It would be her. And with the personality and the fun and the spunk and just everything that you could think of. You could take everything from every girl that you are attracted to, or you think is, the cat's meow or whatever,
right?
And you roll them into one person, and that's who you would get.
I think the funny thing, I agree that hits that part. The funny thing of it is because if you talk to her in person, I'm one of those people that looks right at you when I'm talking to you. Drives some people crazy, but
yeah.
She looks right back at you. So if she's looking right back at you and engulfed in a conversation with you, man, you're just stuck right there, eye to eye, and it's. First of all, you really know that because her attention, she reacts to everything, and she's very animated in not just hands and stuff but she's very animated in how her eyes just react to what you say and what she says and everything else too. So I think that's why her personality comes out so much.
And she's also. She's also invested in the conversation where, a lot of times if you're talking to a celebrity, especially nowadays, they're just kind of, it's part of the job. I need to acknowledge you, and then I got to move on. But with her, it's a real thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna add to that. Forgive me. I was saying is a lot of people have been taught now to look down. It's like walking the red carpet to look down if you really don't have the time to whatever. Talk to them or whatever. You look down so you don't make eye contact, and that drives me nuts. Horrible habit, by the way. Don't care who likes it, who doesn't. Horrible habit. But I want to say that even in the documentary now with Valerie and going through all the things that she's been going through, you know, she still has such a shine in her eyes. I just want to say that through everything that she still has a light that's there that is just remarkable.
Oh, 100%. You know, that was one of the things I wanted to capture was her spirit, because she has a spirit.
Yes.
You know, again, it could have. You know, there's different ways you could have done the documentary, but I wanted it. I wanted to be as true to Valerie and who she is, and her spirit and her legacy. That was what it was all about for me. So I didn't want to get into because she doesn't ever woe is me because she has Parkinson. She's never complained. She just takes it day by day, and trying to live life to the fullest that she can. Right. And that's what I wanted to show, because I could have been like, oh, she, showed some, gone down that road of
right, the boohooish and
the
real,
boohoo.
it's real.
That's real, but she doesn't do that. I mean, again, everybody has a bad day, because that's just the way the world is. But she doesn't have that many. I mean, or at least she doesn't complain about them. I guess that's the better phrase to use.
I think that one of the biggest parts in the documentary, when she talks about, wanting to be looking at being a movie star, and looking at, and people talking about, having this kind of shine that you have, and this coming out, and and her being on set and talented, and there's never been a dull moment with Valerie around, and that's, I think that's cool. To sit there and watch paint dry on a movie set can be a long day at the office. You and I both know this.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a couple of quick little stories that show this is who Valerie is. When she shot Slaughterhouse-5, there's a part where she's supposed to jump on the back of Billy Pilgrim, the main guy, and when they did it, somehow she got elbowed or something really hard, because she jumps on his back, and then they're supposed to fall to the ground, and somehow she got elbowed in her boob, right?
Right.
And it was like the end of the day and whatever. And so the next day, George Roy Hill, the great George Roy Hill, he was like, Valerie, how are you feeling? Are you okay? How is your, whatever. And she had a robe on because, she's topless in the movie. She opens up her top, and she had, if you have a sprained arm, you'll have a sling on it, around your neck.
Right.
She had a sling around her boob, as she's like, oh, I'm doing much better. I think I'll be okay, or something like that. But she put a sling around it, that's her sense of humor. And then when she did Lenny, it was Valentine's Day, and they were going to do that. There's the big strip number at the beginning of the movie, to kind of introduce her as Hot Honey Harlow. And Bob Fosse came out to her trailer, and she answered the door, and she had a robe on. And again, it's Valentine's Day. She opened up her robe, and she had shaved her pubic hair into the shape of a heart. And she said, I have a heart on for you.
Oh, baby Jesus.
Just melted him and everybody else on set. And another Bob Fosse one is, after that movie was, he put his, so much work into that. He had a heart attack when it was over. So she sent him, when he's in the hospital, for whatever, a few months or whatever, a couple of months, she sent him a life-size nude poster of herself, and it got put up on the wall in his hospital room, and he said, there's a lot more doctors coming to see me now that poster's up, and when they come in, they're not really that interested in me.
That's great. I didn't know that one. I never heard that one before. That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, that's who she was. I mean, she liked to, believe me, it's time to work, it's work, and she's professional and all that.
Absolutely.
But, she likes to have fun, she liked to enjoy herself, and, because she's at heart, she has a hippie mentality at heart.
Right. For sure, without a doubt. And here, so when when you started filming this, and to put this into perspective of her being started. I mean, you have some great guest stars on here to sit there and talk about Valerie.
Oh yeah.
Angie Dickinson, Nels Van Patten, Dick Van Patten's son.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges,
Jeff
George
Bridges.
Hamilton. Oh yeah, the Richard Donner, the great Richard Donner.
Yeah,
Before he
phenomenal
passed
Richard
away.
Donner.
Stacey Keach, David Arquette.
Yeah,
The great,
David
so we
Arquette.
talked about the great David Arquette.
Love David. I mean, and it's funny because David, and I think David put it out there, like, in a serious note, like every kid growing up sit there and said, "Wow," and then all of a sudden you say she's beautiful, but then wow, she can act.
Yeah, no,
And then you get to
100%.
know her, and then you're like, wow. I think there's stages of Valerie. There's the stages you see her act, and through all those stages, first you see that she's beautiful and everything else. Then you see, wow, that she's got talent one spot, then another, then another, then another, and then if you're fortunate enough to meet her and talk to her and get to know her a little bit, that's a whole other animal of she just got these layers, and I say it's a pleasure.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like with all these people that that I was lucky enough, to get to interview, and two more just because Lonnie Anderson, another
Yes.
sex symbol and amazing person of the '70s, and what she said, which you've seen in the in that second part of the film is just, it's just one of the best parts. Coming from another female of that time that had
Right.
a certain stature. Just the thing she says is great, and I have to throw in the great Howard Hessman, who we just lost a few months ago, Dr. Johnny Fever,
Yes, sir.
WKRP. But yeah, all those people, they just, like a Jeff Bridges. I mean, that guy is busy. He has tons of things to do.
Right.
But he respected Valerie and thought so much about her and admired her enough, to give me time. Like I went to his house and shot him. It was like a whole thing, and that was very, very, very nice. But like I'm saying, all these people, just have, Valerie meant so much to so many people. They were very lovely and forthcoming to and generous with their time to do this. And they all said such amazing stuff. And there's some people that didn't make it into the documentary because it was going to be a feature, and then I decided to make it a short where it'd be a much more powerful piece. But like Alex Rocco, Mo Green from The Godfather.
Right.
Like he had such a great piece, and I just couldn't. There wasn't a good spot for me to put it in, or I had some of the village people, Felipe Rose, the Native American, like he was part. I had all these great people. But back to the thing, everybody's like, they're so they just loved Valerie so much. They wanted to to get show a little respect for her, and like just show her some love.
Now, and that's the thing being said that taking the time and Jeff Bridges and everyone else, George Hamilton, Angie and Lonnie and everybody that has taken the time. I think it's because I mean even when I and Valerie and I have crossed paths over the years many times, and like I said, I think she's a doll, and I mean that is a wholehearted compliment as a person. And all the talent and everything else and beauty and everything else comes next, but she's a sweetheart. But I mean, I think that the idea that people take the time, when I saw this, I was like, hey man, look, this is definitely without a doubt something that I want to give a push out to and give some love to, because I think it's a great project. Having watched it, I think it was well done, by the way. Stacey, nice job.
Thank you.
And the idea that also, honestly, look, and I don't edit anything, but I will if it's not okay. Look, she's not wealthy,
Yeah.
and it's very costly, even if you are to have Parkinson's, and it takes a lot of money to take care of those things and everything else. And I think that it was something that one shows a great part of her. I really feel that you brought a true projection out on who Valerie Perinne is, And I feel that she, with high respect and everything else, still portrays her as best as she can be right now. And I know this has all been shot over a few years and whatnot, but and I know her condition now. And and I'll say this on the air. My prayers are always with her. Um, but I say that I think that with a job done that you put this together, I think it's something also that can contribute to getting this out there and getting this marketed. I'd even like to see a part two of this, honestly. And you said you had other footage, and I know directors and
Yep.
producers and everything go, "Oh my God, there's more work," but I mean, just because it is such a great story. I know you got. I know you were on. You didn't quite make the short list for Oscars or the Academy Awards, but I know you were in some type of consideration. I heard.
Yeah. No, yeah, I did. The movie was qualified for the Oscars, so we got it. We got in, but then we didn't get shortlisted into the 5 or 6 movies that are in consideration. But for this being my first film, I was pretty happy with that. And then and after something that came after that I had no idea about, the film is actually it is part of the Academy's archives, like their permanent archive collection. So this movie will be part of the Oscars, the Academy forever. I mean, that's kind of mind blowing.
No, congratulations
Thanks,
on that, buddy. I mean, that is absolutely insane. It is, when you become part of the Academy's library, that's pretty badass, dude. That is, and being your first out of the gate at running the show, which that means you have that sounds really important, and I don't want to take this away from you because it is, but also means you have 1,200 hats.
Yeah, man.
So I mean, but so I mean that with love and respect. But I
Sure.
mean, it just means you worked your butt off 10 times as hard to get all that stuff
Yeah.
done. So to
Yeah.
have it on, okay, you made the list. You didn't make the short 5, 6, 10, whatever it comes down to that part, and then that be put into the library is absolutely is ridiculously awesome. I mean, that's crazy, and like I said, I mean, it's well done. You did a really nice job on it. I like the idea, the way it was shot. Um, the tongue in cheek stuff's there that only she can put there. I think you
Yeah.
portrayed it very well, and the other actors and actresses that were on there that spoke about Valerie and her talent and everything else. Um, they portrayed it very well, and because they legitimately care, that's why it comes across so well. Is because when people talk about her, it's because they legitimately care.
Oh yeah, and you know, again, I made the movie. It's a love letter to Valerie.
Right.
And I also wanted, I wanted her legacy to live on, because when you say her name, it goes a couple of different ways. Either people are like, who, who's that? I don't know who that is, or you'll be like, oh, did you ever see? They might not know Lenny, or they'll know Superman. They'll be like, oh, Lois Lane. I'm like, no. Or they're right off the bat, they're like, oh, I love Valerie Perinne. She's one of the most talented actresses ever. Oh, she was great in this and this. You get
Right.
all this stuff. But, I wanted something that would, again, I wanted her legacy to live on. And, I wanted people, because a lot of people always say, what happened to her? Where did she go? And I wanted to kind of either reintroduce her to fans, of hers that
Right.
don't know kind of what's been going on, because she hasn't been in a movie in a long time, but also introduce her to maybe a new generation of fans to her and her work. And the big part of the project was, and she wanted to do this. She was very open about sharing her Parkinson's disease and that battle she's going through, that
Right.
journey. Because you've seen it.
Yes.
There's some very raw, revealing stuff going on in the film, and you know how it is. Celebrities, usually, if they're going through something, you don't hear about it. They kind of they kind of fade away, and then you hear like way down the road, oh, they had this and they passed away. Like,
right.
you don't really see that many people that are in the spotlight, like head on, like, this is what's going on with me. And the reason she wanted to do that, to show those things, it was to give people hope, because there's so many people that are going through, Parkinson's or any kind of illness or mental illness, or if you're just, you can just be going through a rough patch in life. She wanted people to know that you're not alone, that, you can, no matter what happens, keep a positive attitude and just keep trying to go forward. Don't let, something that's a negative in your life, don't let that define you. Try to keep a positive attitude and keep moving forward. And I think, you see it in the film, you see she does it, and a lot of people have seen the movie, and, they say, like, wow, like, that just meant so much to me. That was so inspirational, and
right.
and when you hear those kind of compliments, I mean, everything's great. Believe me, I like to hear the movie's great and I did a great job, and how wonderful Valerie is. But when you touch someone, I feel like you really touch their heart and their soul, and you inspire them. That means a lot. And that, I know, again, that was one of the reasons why Valerie wanted, was good with showing that section of her life, that second part of the film, because, it is nice to be inspirational and being sexy and funny and all that's great, and, giving people enjoyment. But, being inspirational means a lot to her at this point.
Absolutely, and I think she truly does do that. It takes a lot of nerve, guts, and heart, and she's not short on any of those. And
Yeah.
I know I'm preaching to the choir there, but you know what I'm saying, Stacey. She's not short
Yeah.
on any of those. And it's funny. I always sit there, turn around, and said, there's and I never asked her this because it is so. I hope it doesn't irritate her. But it's funny, she got nominated for a Razzie, right? And Burt Reynolds said,
Oh, yeah.
Burt Reynolds said thank you when he got his, right?
Yeah. She was actually, that Can't Stop the Music and that whole thing, that was the very first Razzies.
Right.
She was nominated, and I think maybe it was Olivia Newton-John might have beat her out
because
it was like
physical,
the big,
right? I'm not, no, Xanadu.
Xanadu. Yeah, Xanadu. Those were like the two big movies. I think Can't Stop the Music. One is the worst movie, maybe. I can't remember.
I call bullshit on that, but whatever.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta.
I've seen a lot worse. And I don't think that was a bad movie. It wasn't. Nobody was looking at this movie to being The Godfather. Okay.
Yeah.
So some movies are tongue in cheek, fun. Some movies are, and it had great music. So piss off if you don't like it. Change the station, brother. What I mean?
Well, the problem was that disco literally died in the middle of them making the movie. Like I think the cover of Time magazine came out and it said "Disco is dead." So
thanks
that
a lot,
didn't
brother.
help. That didn't help the film, and there were other issues. But
right.
yeah, when like your theme is like, if it came out 2 years before, it'd have been a huge hit. But I will say, if any of your listeners out there, if they haven't seen it or they haven't seen it in a while, I can't stress it enough. Get it, watch it again, watch it on a weekend, mix up some nice funny, yummy cocktails, and watch it, because it's literally like you step into a time machine.
Yeah.
And you go back to 1980.
Right.
And it's the Village People, Bruce Jenner. It's all these amazing costumes. Everything's over the top, and it's this kind of silly movie, but it's not as bad now because it's a cult classic. But you should, I say, revisit it if you haven't, and just make it a theme night. Have some people over and dress disco-y. I don't know, but it's well worth watching again.
I'll tell you this, and I think this will make her laugh. Is that we just went to see the Donna Summer tour, right? and
Oh, nice.
phenomenal show, right? And thank God it's Friday was part of that deal, and people kind of ran all over the movie, whatever, but great music. It was a
Hmm.
good. It was for what it was supposed to be,
Yeah.
And I think Can't Stop the Music's like that. Great music, first of all, and it's come around and been old enough to be new again, as my mom says. But
Yeah.
the idea is it's supposed to be one of those fun, enjoyable movies.
Hmm.
And that's what it is. I'll tell you what. Everybody, including her, has said it's harder to do comedy or to do a lot of fun on and transfer it through the camera than it is to do a lot of other things. And man, I agree with that. You're an actor, don't you agree?
Oh yeah, it's 100%.
You
Hundred
know,
percent. Comedy's. Everybody thinks it's easy. Comedy's tough because it's all about timing
right.
and all that
So,
stuff.
so I think the idea of it having a good time and having a good time movie, okay, hey, look, I've watched movies 10 million. Somebody said the other day, I'm going to ask you one, Stacey, while I got you on this. So name a movie that you've watched more than 10 times that right now, if it's on the telly and you go and buy it, it's on the television, you'll stop and you have to watch it right now.
I'll just give you the first movie that popped in my head because there's so many movies that I love that I've seen numerous times. I'll give you two.
Okay.
First thing that popped in my head is Back to the Future. That
Yep.
movie is always
Yep.
solid. And I'll go another way. Midnight Cowboy is one of those movies that
Wow.
I got to watch it. The whole thing, and
Right.
I have to sit down and watch the whole thing. I can't watch parts of movies, but yeah, things like that, or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, like
So
the classics. I love those things.
you're younger than your years, brother. But it's funny you mentioned Back to the Future, and Claudia Wells is a dear friend of the show and been on many times.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah.
love Claudia, and so. But here's the thing. So there you go. So you say that, and I can go into saying Arsenic and Old Lace to Back to the Future is one, to Arthur the original. I can just
Oh
go
yeah.
through those old ones. If I keep out horror, because I'm a huge horror buff. But if I keep out horror, you can just do several movies you can just fire away. And I think ones with great music, you sit there and
Yeah.
I'll throw on I Can't Stop the Music if it's on, or a Saturday Night Fever or whatever else is, and dig it because man, the music's there. And then
Yeah.
then you see people and it's a good time. And I think that's what the idea of I think some of those movies got lost. And I think you've really pointed out the biggest thing that I think no one's ever pointed out to me before is that when Can't Stop the Music came out, time and everybody, disco died. Yeah, sorry about that. Well, you don't plan on that when you start making a movie that takes, 100 years to make back then.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Well, the thing too with these movies, like you said, it's the music. What it is, the reason that you enjoy them is, it's like this nostalgic
yes.
thing. It's literally like a time machine. You can watch. If you watch E.T., it takes you back to that moment. When
Right.
you were a kid and you saw E.T. There's just those movies, especially like when you're a kid growing up. Again, that's why Superman is
Well,
such an
you were
iconic
just
film.
saying that, and I was going to say Superman. When if I go past, see Christopher Reeves there, and matter of fact, no joke, the last time, which was about 6 months ago, Superman's on. I'm actually when she's soaking wet, when Valerie's soaking wet, standing there. That's actually when I turned when I was gone through the channels and stopped.
Perfect.
It was
I'll have to tell you my Valerie story.
Fire away.
Well, I'll tell you now. So, okay, I met Valerie. Valerie, we were neighbors. We
Right.
bumped into each other walking dogs years ago, and that whole thing. And then we bumped into each other again. Which I told you that story about I didn't know who she was.
Oh no, share it, please do.
Oh, I did. Oh, yeah. So
No, I know,
anyway,
I know it, but please share it to our listeners.
Yeah. So anyway, the first time I ran into Valerie, I was walking my dog and she was walking hers, and we kind of bumped into each other. And it was our dog said hello, and then we went our separate ways. And then maybe a week and a half later, I bump into her again, and we start talking. And she had the big floppy hat and the sunglasses
Yes.
on, Valerie Perinne style, and
Yes.
and I kept thinking, wow, she's a really good looking lady, and I had this whole like backstory that I made up. I was like, oh, because I'd see her backing out her big Suburban, And I thought, oh, her husband must have passed away. She's a really good looking lady. She probably drives that. Reminds me of her husband. I had this whole thing, and I was so far off. But so anyway, we're chatting.
Yeah, you're a great judge of reading people, there, brother. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was way off, man. So I'm kind of like, oh, what do you do? And she's like, I'm an actress. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm an actor. And then we chat, and then she goes, I take my dog to this secret place on these walks that nobody knows about. It's beautiful there. Would you want to take your dog sometime? Because she's a huge dog lover.
Yes.
I mean, an animal lover in general, but dogs for sure. And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool, And this is before there weren't iPhones, This is still like flip phone days. This is like 2006.
Right.
And so I didn't have a phone on me because I was coming back from a run. And she was giving me her email address. And we chatted some more. And it was her name, right? We chatted some more, and then I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm really bad with names. And this is how long ago this was. It was a Hotmail address. It was like Valerie Perinne at Hotmail. And so
I still have one of those.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's a relic. That's a time machine right there.
That's why I keep it, because I'm a pack rat. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, man. So then she goes, do you know what IMDb is? And I was like, of course, I'm an actor. And then she says, she goes, did you ever see the movie Lenny? And I was like, oh, well, I kind of know what it is. I've never seen it. And she literally goes, did you ever see Superman? I was like, yeah. She was like, I was Miss Teschmacher. I go, oh, okay. I know who you are. Sure. And the funny thing about this is what made me think of it when you were telling your story about walking past the TV. I'd say a year before that, I had a horrible cold, and I keep going. Like, I don't rest. And it was Sunday, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to chill out, watch movies, and kind of feel better.
Right.
I put Superman in, and I'd seen it, 100 times or whatever.
Right.
I'm watching it, and when she comes on, she's doing something, and this thought literally pops into my head. I wonder whatever happened to that lady. And then she literally lived like one building over from me, and we met like a year later.
That is great. Yeah, I love this story, so I'm so glad you shared it with our audience, because you and I were chatting last week, and I love that, because it's kind of the idea of Valerie being in a documentary now. I think, first of all, is a fantastic idea, and that's not just saying because I'm partial here, but I think it's a fantastic idea because she has a career that and as a person that's worthy of,
Yeah.
And I think that the idea of you also showing that, the heart and soul that she has, even going through the battle that she's going through, I think is definitely gives hope. And it also shows that, you can put up one hell of a fight, because I know she's one hell of a fighter.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, this film is literally the bookend to her amazing life, her career, and just, her journey.
If you would say to me, why I would want to watch this if I didn't know much about Valerie Perinne, what would be your soundbite? Legitimate soundbite, not a movie soundbite.
Oh, wow. That's a good question. Why would I want to watch this? Let's see. Oh, that's good, man.
We didn't rehearse this.
yeah, we totally didn't rehearse this. Wow. What would I say to get somebody to watch the movie they didn't know who she was? I would just say, if it's a story that, wow, I'm really gonna fuck this up. I just say it's a story about an amazing person who's had an incredible life that you can't even put it into words. You literally have to dip your toe into this documentary to just get a taste of what a life lived that well could be like. I mean, here's the thing. It kind of goes with your question, but when Bob Fosse says you're the greatest actress he's ever worked with, he's ever directed, I mean, you can't get a much higher accolade than that. I mean, that just pretty much lays it out. That's her as a person as well, just not her as an actress.
Right.
I mean, again, it's literally like if somebody would have to create her, like if they wrote this down, you think that's the most brilliant writer ever. That they've created this person and they've lived all these different lives, but it's one person.
Right. I think honestly that to add to what you said, which is very hard to, and I'm almost never lost for words, but I'm gonna say it like this. And I know I caught you off spot, but that's just kind of how I am, that.
Yeah.
But I think it's because it's hard to put it all together in one spot because she's multifaceted. Kind of like that idea of shines like a diamond, but not as a cell tag. And to lay it out there, her life, her career, they're very intertwined. What you see is what you get in many ways. And in a loving part, I wouldn't want to cut her off on the highway because I know what she'd tell me. But but as far as a loving, talented, beautiful person and woman that's strong and pushed empowerment before the days were started, so to speak. Were very few women that treaded. I think that's something that also gives you a lot of hope, not a glimmer of hope, a lot of hope.
Yeah, no, I agree 1,000%. 1,000%.
As far as the fact of you, what's the proudest part of this movie that you've made?
I'm going to tell you, I mean, and it's weird because you couldn't pick a better person as your subject. Because again, like you said, she's multifaceted. She has all this stuff. She's,
right.
She's incredible and all that. And, all these archives that she had and all this stuff I had to pull from. But there's all that. But the best part of the film to me was just me spending, getting to. I spend time with her all the time. That's different.
Right.
But to like just get into all of these archives and all the stuff and get to know her in a different way. But again, that's movie stuff. It's a sentimental thing is what I'm trying to get to. Like I've been going through stuff, archives the past couple of weeks for something else of hers.
Right.
And, I'm going through this stuff. And again, she's progressed since this thing started. So
yes.
You have to think I have years of footage and everything and going through that and looking at stuff I shot, 8 years ago or 4 years ago. And then today, there's sadness because you see that decline and you forget about it if you're seeing it every day. But to go back and it's different than seeing her in a movie because this is real life and me being with her. But I think one of the best parts about it is that we got to do something together and I got to experience Valerie in other ways that I wouldn't normally get to. Wow, that sounded weird, didn't it?
No, it sounded legit, dude. It sounded legit. And we'll put the weird music to it later.
Yeah, but what I want to say is this. Like, here's the thing. Like, I'm lucky because one day Valerie's not going to be here, and I have this treasure trove of footage that I've shot of her, with her. Me on the other side of the camera, talking to her, asking her questions. Like, I mean, she said this to me in one of the clips, and it really hit me because I saw it the other day and I hadn't seen it, since I shot it.
Right.
And so, I said to her, I'm like, why did you want to do the documentary? And she's laying in bed, and she looks at me and says, I wanted to do it because I knew it would be good for you. And I knew it would be good for us.
Damn, you got my allergies going now, bro.
Yeah, no. I'm telling you, man, no. Even just saying it right there, like it hits me, and I mean, I don't know what I felt when she said it when I shot it, but seeing it literally, like I said, last week or whatever it was,
right.
it just like hit me in, like in a whole different way. And got me,
Sure.
all misty eyed, because it's just such a honest from the heart thing, and, we love
last
each
week
other.
when you told me it. Last week when you told me it, I had a frog in my throat there for a minute. As you and I were talking, I'm gonna change off on a good part of this series just for a couple seconds as we wind this up. Now this is gonna be great because I know her and I've got to know you a little bit. So the funniest time filming this that you got her to laugh.
Oh, it's probably going to be the other way around. It'll be her making me laugh.
Okay. All right.
She likes her pot.
Gotta love
So we, there were some times when, I would be like, she's not really she's not super chatty. Here, I'll give her some pot. So, she would say some pretty funny stuff in there.
Right.
Same thing. Like I saw some stuff last week and I totally forgot about it. Geez, I mean, there's so many times I'm trying to isolate one
that
thing.
Just lit up and glowed and man had a badass time. Are you guys laughed watching it or something? Something she went back watched with you that just without giving away much of the documentary here, but or just something you just shared together that just made her that she just enjoyed and beamed over.
I mean, it's the things I'm thinking of are more like almost more like sentimental things, like okay, there's a spot in there where we go see the last movie she did.
Okay.
And they ask her, she gets on the mic in her wheelchair and she holds the mic, and she's shaky and she says, this will be the last movie I ever do, and I went out with a bang. She says all that stuff is amazing, it's like so good. But when the theater was close to like our neighborhood,
right?
So I push her in her wheelchair, and we go and we watch the movie together. And there's just something we held. I held her hand. There was something being very supportive of, just something really nice about that. We were there together for this thing. This is a little different, but this is actually before we shot, but it is a sweet little thing that I just want to say. We had gone to some autograph thing. I think we were in Smallville, Illinois, or somewhere like that. It was a Superman thing. And we got on the plane, and I started having some sort of like an anxiety attack, and I'd never had one. And I was just feeling all like, those things are crazy. I was like, I don't know if I'm having a heart attack. I don't know what's going on. And she like calmed me down, and she was like, kind of rubbed me on the back, and she, just, making me, feel okay. And then she says to me, she's like, you take care of me all the time. Let me take care of you right now.
Oh.
Those are more the things that like stand out to me, or those like special moments like that. I mean, there's plenty of things where we, okay. If you want something kind of funny, we did do a thing where she was in bed. There were two things. This is pretty funny. I would get her to, I would say an emotion, and she would like make the face.
Mm-hmm.
Like, show me anger. And she'd do this weird thing, or show me love. And then she'd do this little puppy dog thing, because tell her what you want as a director, and she could do it.
Right.
And I would just throw out the weirdest thing, show me an upset stomach, or whatever. And she would just give you, like, these things, and, like, really, if it was serious, she'd give this really serious look, and
right.
Like I guess those are that was pretty funny. Like, I'd do that for a while, and then I'll say the last little silly thing that comes to mind is the old commercials where I've fallen and I can't get up.
Right.
So she was she's in bed and she has one of those little life alert things on, and we did I'd be like, Valerie, when this documentary comes out, maybe if Life Alert knows you have a thing, and they, maybe they'll reach out and you can be their new spokesman. I was like, what? Do the line. And so there she is in bed, and then she handed up, and she'd be like, I've fallen, and I can't get up, or whatever. And she'd totally, like, get into the thing and be all
she's selling hard, right.
Yeah, and then we would start laughing about it. Those are, like, the funny things, and
love that,
like I said, a couple of little sentimental pieces that stand out to me.
I love that. And there's two last things, if you don't mind, if real quick we can touch on. One, and I didn't know this, and I knew a lot about Valerie, and and everything else, but she was actually supposed to be at Sharon Tate's party.
Yeah. Well, you see it in the movie. Most people don't know it because I think it just wasn't some wide thing. She didn't really talk about it. Yeah, she was dating Jay Sebring, the hairdresser, and she was supposed to go to Vegas with him. She was supposed to go to Sharon. She was in Vegas working.
Right.
She was supposed to go to because it wasn't like a big thing. It was just a little
get together,
like a little party.
Yeah.
And she was supposed to go, and at the last minute, the girl who was gonna like work her shift, like filling for her showgirl stuff, she got sick, and she couldn't work, so Valerie had to stay in Vegas. And well, we all know what happened after that. Right. So yeah, it's really crazy.
Looks like God had bigger things for her, obviously.
Yeah.
It just is a crazy thing. And the other thing is, man, so please tell me, and I appreciate you taking the time, and I know we went way over time here on this, but I mean,
sure.
It's just been such a wonderful thing to talk about, and a project, and I've really enjoyed it, and probably because I know we ordered some pizza, and I think I'm going to probably watch it again in just a little bit.
Thank you.
But I appreciate it, buddy. I appreciate you taking the time. But where can everybody see this?
Okay, so the movie, if you go to ValerieMovie.com, all of the links are there. But hold on, I'll tell you exactly where it all is because I'm kind of like all over the place. Hold on 1 second, I'll tell you where it is. It is on for like streaming. It's on iTunes, Apple TV, Google Play, YouTube. You can buy it on some of those too. And also, if you're old school or a cinephile and you want DVDs, you can get the hard copy DVD. You can get that on Amazon, Walmart, and Barnes and Noble.
I'm gonna be buying one of those myself.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun to have. But yeah, if you go to ValerieMovie.com, that's the easiest way to find the links to whatever. And hopefully it'll be like on Amazon Prime at some time. I thought it was already going to be there, but there was some kind of little snafu, so we'll see. But that's where it is right now. And then secondly, I think you're going to ask me this, but I'll cut you to the chase, beat you to the chase, because we talked about her health and everything, and I set up a GoFundMe for her.
Yes. Because
to help with her, whatever money goes into that goes for her healthcare needs, and it all goes to her. It all helps out with just her
everyday expenses,
living her everyday expenses. Because, like you said, everybody thinks, oh, movie star, you live in Beverly Hills, you're rich. It's like that doesn't last forever. So
especially when you have a condition like Parkinson's.
Yeah, you have have to have caregivers and stuff. And so there is a GoFundMe, and you can either go to ValerieMovie.com. There's a link there, or if you go to the GoFundMe, you can put in her name, Valerie Perinne. And I'll say this for me to everybody out there, and I know that she appreciates it as well. But if anybody does want to contribute and to help her out, like, it's much appreciated. It is the way the world is now, and even if you have health insurance, there's all these other things that you don't think about, just everyday things that all of a sudden you're like, wow, it's just expensive to live, so.
And I hope you don't mind me saying, but
Sure.
She has caregivers 7 days a week. She has caregivers 7 days a week. So that's a great cost, and there's deductibles, and there's everything else to it, like all of us have for deductibles and everything else. So, that's not cheap, caregivers 7 days a week. So, every little bit helps.
Every little bit helps, and like I said, I'll go ahead and everybody that does contribute or is thinking about it, really from the bottom of my heart, like, thank you. It's much appreciated, and I know that Valerie would blow you all a big kiss and give you a hug if she could.
Absolutely, without a doubt. I appreciate you coming on, Stacey, man. It's been a true pleasure. Man, you and I just kind of hit it off the other day, and we kind of went off to the races, but I really appreciate you coming on. I'd love to have you come back on again. Where can everybody find you? As you're a director, you're a producer, you're an actor. Where can everybody find you on social media?
The easiest place to find me is Instagram. I'm pretty good on there. So it's Stacey Souther. It's just my name. So it's StaceYSOUTHER. So think of Southern, but take the N off.
Yeah, I threw that up the other day.
Yeah, so that's me. And if you want to follow Valerie,
yes, please,
which everybody should. Twitter's good. It's the Val Perinne. Instagram, she's Valerie Perinne Official. And if you're Facebook, you can find her that way too. Just put in Valerie Perinne, and there's a Valerie Perinne fan page too. But she's pretty easy. Don't look for the blue check, because we're having the hardest time to get her little blue check on like Twitter and Instagram. It's
right.
been a hassle. Like, you think it's like you send in ID and everything. It's like, oh, that's the person, but it's really tough. So, but yeah, it's really her. You'll see her, and she posts some really fun stuff. And
yes, she does.
She's funny. Like, she's a good person to follow.
I think that without a doubt, and I think she'd absolutely love to see a big boost in her following. I think that would make her day, and everything else. I think when people watch this, they'll gain a whole new respect for the person and the career of Miss Valerie Perinne.
Yeah, I do want to add one thing. This is just something from me. If anybody out there listening, if you have a family member or friend or anybody like that who is going through something, who Parkinson's, cancer, like just whatever it is,
mm-hmm.
make time to go visit them. If it's for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, it doesn't have to be a big thing. That means a lot to somebody if they're stuck at home and they're not feeling well. Just because I know from experience with her, a lot of times down the road, like, people stop coming around. Like, if somebody doesn't feel well, and it's the smallest things that we take for granted when we're healthy. Something like that, I'm telling you, it's just a little something to leave you guys with. Like, if you know somebody that isn't feeling well, go by and see them. Take them a cupcake or something. It's like that could lighten up that person's whole day, and that could be the best part of their day. And it was such a little thing to give, from your, a small amount of time, and it meant so much to somebody else.
I think that's a great way to wind up, ladies and gentlemen. Stacey Souther, go check them out everywhere. Valerie the Movie, it's a fantastic documentary. I think I like the way you said it best. It's a love letter to Valerie, and I think that's absolutely, and I think it is her love letter to the fans.
Oh, agreed. I agree 100%.
You know,
I mean, without the fans, I mean, it's not you wouldn't be where she wouldn't be where she is without the fans, but she would still be Valerie Perinne and her crazy, kooky, beautiful self.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Look, you make sure to give her a big hug for me. You give her love from me and all our listeners out there, 67 countries, man. You guys reach out, go check out Valerie the Movie, Valerie.com. And I'm telling you, man, this is really an awesome documentary.
ValerieMovie.com.
ValerieMovie.com. I'm sorry. Thank you, brother. That's what I got you here for.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
No problem. I have it written down. I just didn't. I kind of made a left and a right there. But ValerieMovie.com. Go check it out. It's a fantastic documentary. And if you didn't know who Valerie Perinne was, trust me, you'll be a better person after for it. Thank you so much, Stacey, for taking the time.
All right. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Lifebox Media Channel. We are out.